Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to main course. We're getting ready to get some thin mints cooking. We're going to make sure you wash your hands. Get your hands 20 seconds washed. Get between the fingers. Get between the cuticles of your nails. Get in there and just make sure everything is good and clean. Welcome to main course. I'm Chef Lawrence. Before we get started with anything, I want to talk real quickly to the moms and the dads or anyone who's listening. They're looking for where we post our recipes or our information about the class. So every Friday, I'm going to post on our Facebook page a post for each class, what the ingredients you're going to need for the next class, and I'm going to pin Tuesdays to the top of the page. So Tuesdays will be posted tomorrow morning and pinned to the top of the page, and Thursdays for next week will be on the page as well, just not pinned. I don't have what we're doing next week yet. We're doing a lot of things here at the school, so we haven't got up to that, but we will have it by tomorrow morning. So when you're looking for ingredients for that list, it's going to be pinned to the top of this page. And when you guys share it, that's great, but it's still, you have to go back to the main page and find the top of the page, and that's where it's going to be. So just a lot of people are having a hard time finding where they are. So that's why we're making sure we answer that, because that's probably someone calling asking me where the page is. All right, so we're getting lots of calls, and we love being popular, and we love being, all of you are interested, but we just got to make sure that we are telling you guys where it is, because we answer this question about 100 times a day. So we want to make sure that we've got time to do what things we need to do. So follow along, and I know it's something called hard for us all to read nowadays. We read what we want to do. Do you want to check? Is it even on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. We're doing a mic real quick, a mic check.
It's quick. I think your mic's just...
This Hugo, he's kind of too close to me right now.
There you go.
Okay. Is that better, guys? All right. All right, so what we're going to be making today is thin mints. So these are not exactly the thin mints you get from Girl Scouts, but they're close as I can get my recipe to them, because I had to figure out, one, I needed to know how to make them myself, because I could not wait until January when the cookie season comes in. I want these in December. So I really, really wanted to learn how to do them. So I taught myself the recipe that I think is closest to them. What we're gonna need today in this class, we're gonna need 3/4 cups of unsalted butter. The butter is a little softened, okay? I softened this overnight in this container, not in the refrigerator. If it's not softened, we can still work with that. We'll just have to work more. We're gonna do 1 cup of sugar. I'm picking up flour. 1 cup of white sugar, the granulated sugar. We need 1 egg. And I've measured all my stuff out. So I need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. It can be vanilla, real vanilla extract, or it can be imitation vanilla. It doesn't matter. We also have, I can smell it, but I don't see where it is. That's it right there. It evaporated so quickly. Yeah, I need 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract, and that has a little bit of alcohol in it. So we put it out a little early this morning, and it disappeared completely. See, so it's really quick. So you have to keep that lid on there. We also have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and then cocoa powder. We have 3/4 cup cocoa powder. That's that chocolate cocoa that doesn't have any sugar in it. So if you taste it, it doesn't taste good. It's not sweetened yet. We also need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, measured out already. We need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It can be iodized salt, or it can be kosher salt. It doesn't matter. And then that's for the recipe for the cookie. And then we're gonna need some chocolate chips. I think it's 1.5 cups of chocolate chips, about 12 ounces. And I've got 2 things. I had some chocolate chips, but I also had some Hershey's chocolate bars. So I just broke those up and put them in there as well. So you can see them all in there. So whatever kind of chocolate you have, it could be those chocolate discs. It can be the little short, look like bullets. It can be chocolate chips, just depending on what you have. It's semi-sweet chocolate, but if you use milk chocolate, it won't be too bad. But for the thin mint cookie, it needs to be semi-sweet chocolate, but dark chocolate or whatever chocolate you have will work. It just won't be the same as the Girl Scout cookie recipe. They use semi-sweet, okay? And then in that same thing, we're going to use another 1/4 teaspoon, and it's not very much, 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract. And you want to use peppermint extract in this recipe. There's a mint extract out there as well, but peppermint works the best. That's what the Girl Scouts use, so that's what we need to use because that we want it to taste exactly like it. And that's going to be for the covering of the chocolate, okay? All right, so this recipe, I didn't mention it before, but it works better if you have a mixer, and a mixer like a KitchenAid, but if you don't have that, if you have a hand mixer, that works good too. What we want to do is we want to put our wet ingredients in, and by wet ingredients, I'm talking about the butter, the sugar, the egg, and the vanilla, and you're going to whip those all together really light because we want this recipe to be really light, the cookie to be really light. So we want to whip it a lot, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, and I've already messed it up. I put my spatula in the chocolate, so I can't use that one for the butter. So take your butter, and if you don't have a mixer, you can do this by hand. Just make sure that your butter is softened, okay? I'm adding in the 3/4 cups of butter. You want all of that in. You add in your sugar. You're gonna add in your egg and your vanilla. It doesn't matter which order it is, but these 4 ingredients go in together, and they're called the wet ingredients. And we're gonna cream, what we're doing is we're gonna cream our butter. Make sure all those ingredients get whipped together. And I'm just gonna tap that. Remember where we tapped our egg? We're gonna tap it on the counter, then add it in. Last week I had a hard-boiled egg. Hopefully this is not the same one. But I'm just gonna add that in, and remember, eggs are potentially hazardous food because they carry salmonella, and salmonella is something that will make you sick to your tummy. So you want to make sure that anytime you handle like raw chicken or a raw egg or egg yolk, that you wash your hands afterwards. I got a little bit on my thumb, so I'm going to wash my hands really quickly, and you should do the same thing. Remember to cook clean. You want to make sure when you cracked your egg, if the egg got a little bit on the countertop, that you clean that off with some sanitizer as well, or tell your mom that you need some sanitizer there. You want to disinfect that area because that has that potentially hazardous salmonella on it, possibly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. This is the mixture: sugar, vanilla, butter, and egg, and I'm going to put that on my KitchenAid mixer. However you do yours. Is anyone using a hand mixer? Is anyone using just their hands? Show us some likes and loves and we'll know how many you have. So what I'm doing is I'm locking down my mixer, and then I'm just going to turn it on. I'm sure they gave me the fast mixer today. No, it's a good one. All right. So I'm starting to whip that. And then once it all comes together, I'm just going to speed it up. And I'm going to go for about a minute and a half. You want this really whipped together. You want it really light. So there's still some of you on the page that are asking for the ingredients. We went over the ingredients just now, and we also let you know where they are found. So it's pasted in there, an email, it was put on there this morning. I know that's frustrating to you guys that you can't participate in this class, but it's because we're on a time crunch too. So we're doing this class starting at noon, and we're ready to go, and we ask you to be ready to go as well. If you can't join us, these are always recorded and put on our Facebook page, also our YouTube page, so you can check that out and you can cook along with us there. So I'm just going to leave that going a little bit, and I'm going to let you see what this looks like. So there's a little bit of that butter and the sugar mixture just on there, and you just want to knock that off. So remember what's in this. There's egg in there, so if you touch any of it with your hands, you're going to need to wash your hands again. but I'm just knocking it off there. This is not the time to eat this. This tastes like butter and sugar, which is delicious, but it has the raw egg in there, so you don't want to eat that right now. All right, we want to cook this before we even try to put that in our mouths, okay? And I'm just knocking it off the best I can. There you go. The days of licking the batter spoon is over. Tell yourself that. There's ways to get around it. You could pasteurize your egg beforehand or buy pasteurized eggs. That means they've been heated up just enough to kill any bacteria in there. So before you make cookie dough ice cream, that's what they do. They pasteurize the dough, the egg and the dough, so that you can eat the dough. But most of the time we're not pasteurizing things that we're cooking, all right, until after they're baked. So I'm just gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna keep this together. I'm gonna move back over to my workspace. There we go. All right, now we're just gonna mix our dry ingredients. I have a question for my chef. Chef, add this in now. Add everything in, add the chocolate in, or add it all together? So, while it's wet. Okay, so I'm gonna add the chocolate first, right? All right. Got this mixture here, the butter mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my cocoa, okay? And I'm gonna hand mix that in, okay? You could put this on the mixer, but cocoa is super light. It's like fluffy, I mean, to the point where it will float. So if you were to turn this on, it's going to, in the mixer, it's just gonna puff into the air and you're gonna get chocolate everywhere. So you really, really wanna just mix this in slowly to the wet ingredient. And you're gonna see what I'm talking about. If you can see me stirring this, you can even see the chocolate in the air. All right? While this is still wet, I'm just mixing it in so that when I do eventually put it back on the mixer, that it is not going to go flying everywhere. All right, enough in that it's mixed enough in there. I'm gonna add in the rest of the dry ingredients. I'm gonna add in the baking powder. I'm gonna add in the salt, and I'm gonna add in half of the flour. So I have half left over, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is I'm gonna put it back on the mixer, and this way it won't make a big mess. Part of cooking is making sure you're cleaning up your messes, and if you don't make a mess, you don't have to clean the mess. So you start and clean. Clean as you go, cook as you clean as you cook, and cook clean, okay? So I'm gonna put this back on the mixer. That made no sense at all, but lock it down, and then I'm just gonna turn it on slowly. Now, while it's on there, I'm gonna bring my flour back over, and I'm gonna add that back in, add that in too. So as soon as it all mixes in, I want you to see down in that bowl, as soon as that starts to make a dough, it starts to firm up, I'm gonna add in my flour. And now everyone's in the hot tub, everyone's at the party. So we're just mixing this until the dough comes together. All right, so in this recipe, at this point, once it all comes together, there's two ways to do it. You can put it in the refrigerator and chill it, because you're gonna roll it into a log and then chill it, and then you're going to be able to slice it. Or I'm gonna show you a different way that you can have some instant gratification, and you can eat them pretty fast right away, okay? That's the way I like to cook. Who wants to wait an hour for the cookies to be ready before they even can be able to be baked? Not me. So I'm just gonna mix it really quickly, and then I'm gonna take it off. And like I said before, this has that butter mixture in it. So this has egg in it. So that butter mixture had the egg in it. We just wanna knock that chocolate dough, and it's gonna be really dark chocolate dough and dry. This is almost kind of like a shortbread cookie. All right. We're gonna knock that back down in there, and then we're gonna mix it one more time with our hands, with our spatula, just to make sure we got all that flour good. Okay. That all the butter is mixed in, all the flour is mixed in. See, I found a pocket where there wasn't anything mixed, so glad it was there. All right. So this is where you would take the dough and roll it into a log, wrap it into the plastic wrap, and you would put it in the refrigerator for about an hour. Or you're gonna do it the sneaky fast way. We're gonna roll it, bring it over here, and with 2 pieces of parchment paper or 2 pieces of wax paper or something like that, something like maybe even plastic wrap, you're gonna put it down, one here. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour. Put that away. Fall over my hand. Right? And then with the other one, I'm gonna put it over right now. And I'm just gonna use my hand and I'm gonna flatten it myself. And once it's flattened, peppermint went into when we put it in. This is the peppermint for the top. It's gonna be in the mixture. The peppermint for the dough already went in. Yes? Did I miss the peppermint? Uh-oh. Okay, so I did miss the peppermint. Thank you guys. I know, but this is the one I need. All right, so I'm gonna go back. Well, I'm sorry, I apologize, because I had lost it. It wasn't on my tray. I missed it. So I'm gonna put this right back in the mixer. Right back in the mixer that we had. Add in your peppermint extract, and we're just gonna mix one more time. Thanks for calling me out on that. That's great. That's team chef going on there. So add in your peppermint. If you haven't already added in, I'm just gonna mix it in. Some of you may have caught it along the way. I missed it. All right. And if for some reason you didn't get the peppermint in, it's not the end of the day, because we're putting the chocolate and peppermint glaze on the cookie. All right. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Who was that? A few people. Thank you, guys. Salt. I did put the salt in. I remember putting the salt in. All right. Scraping it out. Make sure you get all that good dough. So if you guys are lost in this recipe, you can watch it later on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. But I'm going to take a quick break and tell you exactly what I did and what I fixed, okay? So we've just made the dough for the cookie. We added in all our flour, so it's 1.5 cups of flour, our salt, our baking powder. We jumped back in and added in our peppermint extract that I missed. We just put it back in the mixer and mixed it in. Before that, we had creamed together the sugar, the egg, the vanilla, and the something else, butter. Right? So right now, between the 2 pieces of parchment or plastic paper wrap, we are rolling this out. The dough is really firm. It's kind of like a shortbread dough. It's got a lot of cocoa in it. I'm going to turn my paper this way and roll it out again. And what we're looking for is a cookie that is a thin, about 1/4 inch thick wafer size. You're going to need something to cut with, either a glass or a biscuit cutter. Both will work. The other method would be to wrap this up and put it into the refrigerator for an hour. And when you have it in the refrigerator for an hour, then you're going to just take it out. It'll be a log, and you're just going to slice it. All right? So I'm going to just roll it a couple more times, and then I'm going to open this back up, peel it apart, and see what it looks like. Sure. Venmo, if you want to donate, tip us, basically. We can do it through Venmo, We'll post that on the page right after the class. It's Venmo or Cash App. We also have PayPal and Zelle. All right, so here we go. I've got it rolled out pretty thinly. Just gonna put a little flour so that my rolling pin doesn't stick. I'm gonna put a little rolling on the rolling pin. You can always dust your rolling pin like that. And just make sure that it's pretty even. Wondering if my friend Andrea is on here. I saw her say that she was going to be on today. And she's a friend of mine from the Woodlands. And she likes her cookies apparently because I saw her posting about a Neiman Marcus chocolate chip cookie this morning. And she didn't ask me for that recipe. I already had that recipe. I would have given it to her. All right. How thin is it? About 1/4 inch. All right, so got it thinned out to about 1/4 inch thick, and then I need to put it on a baking sheet. And this shoe is an issue. My shoe came untied, so I just took it off. All right, so on my baking sheet, you can either use parchment, spray, or you can use a Silimat. So it's just a silicone mat, and all I'm doing is I'm gonna cut them. And this is about the size I thought, about the size of a Girl Scout cookie, right? So I'm gonna just make some cuts. And this recipe should make about 36 cookies or 1 serving. All right? So I don't know how many's in a box, but I can tell you that the amount I can eat is usually the sleeve. So I consider that a serving for sure. I eat a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies, and I think that's the technical term. I ate a sleeve. All right, so I'm just cutting these out. They're all about the same thickness. And then with the dough that is all around the part that doesn't get used, we're gonna roll them back up again and use them again. There was an offset spatula, I thought. It's all right, you'll never find it. All right, so we're taking them off. This is, so it's about that thick. Can you see? Thank you. And I'm just gonna put them on. They're gonna rise a little, but they're not gonna puff up. All right, so we're cutting away till we can get to the portion that we wanna use. They're little rounds. I just cut through the dough and set it to the side. And this is called an offset spatula. You can use a butter knife in your house. And this only helps because it's bent a little bit. It's a little offset. But if you don't have that, you can use a butter knife, the knife that you would use to spread butter in your house when you're making toast. I'm just flipping them over. It really doesn't matter how upside down or right side up, they're just a little wafer. I'm getting ready to turn it on. It's on, and it's 350, I believe. 350, I'm sorry, 350, and that's regular bake. It can be convection bake at your house if you have a convection oven. I have one too. I'm gonna use this one as just a straight bake today. And we're gonna bake for 7 to 10 minutes, depending on your oven, okay? And you're gonna know, they're gonna come out and they're gonna be kind of a little bit glossy because of that amount of butter that's in this, but they're not gonna be soft. It's just you're gonna see a gloss to them. Okay, I'm gonna get a tray done. Now this is a lot of work, but because Girl Scouts don't offer that cookie all year long, this is a necessity in life, okay? There's nothing wrong with cooking it at home too. Cookies, I don't know what the price of Girl Scout cookies are, $5 or $6 now? That's a lot of money for a cookie. If you divide that up amounts to cookies, you're going to save money on this order, this recipe. All right. So right now I'm at 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many is that, guys? 15, huh? So I've got about half of what I think is going to be my take today. Some of these on this end were just a little thicker. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be perfect. They're going to look close to perfect because once we put that chocolate glaze on them, you are going to love this. You just won't even know that it's not a Girl Scout cookie. I'd have to look more. Can she take a picture of it? And then we'll reach out after class. I don't know. Crumbly sounds like you don't have enough moisture. And pudding needs to start over there. She's missing an ingredient somewhere. I'm not sure where it is because I'm not there with you, but it should not look like pudding. It should totally, like you could see that this was kind of doughy and kind of crumbly, but not like it should come together. So if you haven't, like, I don't know the texture. So there's some questions about dough consistency. How many people do we have viewing today? 262, awesome. Yeah, so that's what it's hard to answer when I can't see your dough. If we have questions about your dough, I can't answer it because I don't see it. So if you take a picture of it, we could probably work this out, and then when you're finishing up later, we can certainly help you. I'm going to drop this into the oven, and then we're going to work really quickly on our chocolate sauce, or the glaze, the dipping sauce. And I'm not limping, I just took off one shoe. All right, in the oven, we're gonna go in the oven for about little less than 10 minutes. So I'm gonna say 7 or 8 right now, and then double check. You can always leave it a little longer, but you can never take away a burnt cookie. I mean, I'm taking the other shoe off too, so I don't limp it. All right, that's what I am. Okay. Before I get to the chocolate sauce, so putting that on there, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of fold this up so that my dough doesn't dry out. All right. Chef Chair, you working on that other one? Is she asking you questions about how? Okay. All right. So there's about the same amount that we used for the cookie before. It's here. So I'm just gonna, instead of making more cookies and having you guys watch me, I'm just gonna fold mine up and finish mine off later. You, by all means, make all the cookies that you can make today. All right, so this is our chocolate. We talked about it before. It is 12 ounces of chocolate, and I use chocolate chips, and I use chocolate Hershey's bars that just happen to have some to finish up, so we just broke those up. And then you're gonna need, it's amazing how fast this evaporates. This one's all right. So we need about a 1/4 teaspoon of that peppermint extract, okay? And leaving it in a little bowl makes it disappear because it evaporates really quickly. And I'm just gonna put this over a double boiler. So people told me earlier, I don't have a double boiler. I don't have a double boiler either. I have some water in a pan. This is a soup pan, something that was saucepan I would be making soup in. Just enough water, just about 1 inch in the bottom. And then I put it, a stainless steel bowl. You can use a glass bowl, and you can put it over this, and then you can melt your chocolate that way. You can also use a microwave and put them into a cup, a glass, Pyrex glass, and then put that in there. Melt, push the button for 10 seconds, take it out and stir it another 10 seconds, take it out and stir it until all the chocolate is melted. So that's another way of doing it. So we're just gonna melt this down. Some of mine was already kind of over the hot water already, so it's starting to melt pretty quickly. And I just wanna make sure all that chocolate is incorporated. This chocolate is a little thick today. But I can still see lumps in there. I can still see some of the chips, so I'm still waiting for them to start to melt down. A little bit of heat. There doesn't need to be a lot of boiling going on in here. It just needs to have a wisp of steam, just enough to heat this. And you don't want this bottom of your bowl to be touching the water. You just want it to be cooking with steam. So make sure there's only about 1 inch of water in there. You can use a glass bowl because you're not heating this really hot. I mean, so you can use a glass bowl. I wouldn't use a plastic bowl. Or just heating plastic is not my favorite thing. I don't know what kind of plastic it is, so it could put off, the heat can melt it a little bit. It could also put off some bad fumes. So just be careful. Just really low hot heat. I've got mine on right below medium and between medium and low. I'm gonna thin it out just a little bit. You said oil. Good. All right. So if yours is a little thick like mine and I'm keep heating it, it's not quite heated all the way. So that's why I haven't done it yet. You can thin yours down with a little bit of cooking oil, canola oil, or grapeseed or something like that. Something that doesn't have any flavor. Don't use some olive oil. Olive oil has a flavor. So anything that has a flavor you really don't want to use. I'm probably going to use some canola oil. I'm just still waiting for this chocolate to melt down. And another thing I want to do is before I put this on my cookie, I want to taste this chocolate to make sure there's enough peppermint for me. Because I'm a peppermint pig. I love peppermint. All right. I'm going to go all the way low because my chocolate's all melted now. I'm just going to get a spoon and taste it. Thank you, sir. All right. I'm just going to put it on the back of the spoon. Plenty of peppermint for me. That's good. So I'm just going to thin mine down with a little bit of oil. Okay. All right, so just a little bit. I'm talking about a couple of drops. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so not a lot. I just wanted to watch it. And if I feel like it needs more, I'll add a little more. I didn't put it on your recipe because I didn't want you to add too much. So literally not even enough to put on a recipe. That's how much I want you to put of the oil. I'm just going to put a couple more drizzles, 3, 4. All right. All right, so my cookies are almost ready. I'm going to go over and check them while I leave this here. And this is on the lowest setting I can do, the simmer setting. All right, so I'm going to go check mine. It's got about 2 minutes to go. But I'm looking in there and I'm making sure they're a little soft. They smell really good. I'm gonna wait another 2 minutes. I think they need that 2 minutes, okay? So you can keep an eye on that. All right, coming back and double checking. And while we're getting ready to put the chocolate on there, we're gonna wait till these cookies cool because the chocolate doesn't like to stick onto a hot cookie. We're gonna need something in your kitchen like this. So this is a sheet that we use to cool cookies on. It's like this. You have something like that. It's a cookie. It's called a cooling rack, and it's going to go. And I put it on a cookie sheet, and in between it, I put some parchment paper. And mostly that's because it'll catch the drips, and I don't have to clean the bottom of the pan really all the time. Thinking smart and cooking as I go, cleaning as I go. That's the way to do it. That's the same reason we like to use foil on our pans when we're cooking something that's going to be really dirty in the kitchen. Like if you're going to fry some pork chops in the oven, roast some pork chops in the oven, you can absolutely put something like tin foil or aluminum foil in between. All right. $7 to 10 minutes. My oven looks like it's going to be about 8.5. That's how many minutes we're baking these cookies for. I don't think more than 10 minutes. You're going to start to see them start to brown a little bit. We really don't want these to brown. We just want them to cook all the way through. Mine's telling me that my timer's done, and I had put it on for 8.5 minutes. So I'm going to pull this out, and I'm just going to set it on the counter so you guys can see. So some of my cookies are thinner than the other ones. I'm going to grab this offset spatula. So you can see, as I'm trying to move it, it's still tender. You know, it's still soft enough that the cookie wants to bend. This one down here is a little more thin, so it's going to be cooling quickly. I'm putting this right on my countertop. It's been sanitized. This is marble, so it's going to cool that cookie down really quickly. If you leave it on a cookie sheet, then you're going to have to wait till the pan cools and everything. Uh-oh, see this? That one, I didn't see that happen. I didn't happen. And this cookie is good. It's not great yet. It needs that chocolate icing. Okay? So cooling them down. You can also just let them cool on your sheet. Remember, this cookie sheet is really hot, and it came out of a 350-degree oven. We're just letting those cool. Who's ready to start eating? I know I am. All right. Sure. So you guys are making cookies today. I love seeing what you guys do at home. So when you are taking pictures and remembering this, saving this memory, I want you to share it with me if you can. Put it on our Facebook page. I'd love to see the cookies you guys make. Let's see. I've got them all here pretty thin. This one got away from me and it broke. And I can't say anything, but there's casualties of war, and this is one of them. So remember, we can use this pan again because this is the silicone mat, and if you don't have one of those, you can pick one up at online or at Bed Bath & Beyond or something like that. I think they're still in business. I'm just setting it to the side. See, it's pretty clean. It doesn't have to be washed until after we bake these. I'm going to move over some of these cookies that I know are crispy enough. These are the thinner ones. Okay. So remember, this is our cooling rack, but our cooling rack today is being used for the icing, to keep the icing from it just lets it drip down in between. Okay, so I've got it thin. I'm gonna put one more drop of it in here just to make sure, and then I'm ready to ice my cookies. And the way I think the Girl Scouts do it, it's in a big factory, and that it is literally the cookies going down a sheet, down a row, rolling this the way, and the chocolate's coming over the top of them, and they're just the chocolate that doesn't get used goes back under and goes back to the chocolate. So you don't have that luxury today. So you gotta kind of make sure your chocolate's ready to do. You can either dip them, and what I like to do is take the chocolate and dip it slice down, because I just want a little chocolate on it, and make sure you have your spatula or a fork or something, because the surface tension of the chocolate will make you break your cookie, just like I broke mine. I knew it was going to happen. That's why I was struggling. Do it again. Just put it up there. Right. I'm just giving it a little quick spin.
Question about it, you don't have a
Then you just do it flat on a cookie sheet. It just means you're going to do a little bit more cleaning. It's okay if you don't have some of the equipment that we have here. Wait to thin this down chocolate just a little bit more, because it's got that stick it to itness. Put a little more oil. I wanted to make sure it's a little bit thinner because that chocolate is sticking in there, and I don't want it to stick. I just want it to come just enough to release. In fact, I'm going to do this real easily for them. If you take your offset spatula or your cookie, you can drop this on top. Drop it on top and then smooth it off. To the edge. This might work easier for you guys, and it's easier because there's not a lot to grab onto once the cookie comes out. I'm trying to kind of rush this. The cookies are still a little bit warm. And we're just letting this chocolate sit on top and dry. And as it dries, then I can give it a good little rubbing and let it fall over the sides. And then it goes into edge to edge. Back and forth. Make sure you don't have tons of chocolate on there. And push it off. There we go. Make it where you can see me. So I'm pushing it to the edge, kind of icing the top, getting rid of some of the chocolate, and then coming back and just pushing it off to all the edges with a flat surface, okay? Same thing with this one, just got done. This one's done. And the chocolate's a little bit thicker than if a machine did it, but that's okay. That when you share these and you say these are homemade, people can see that you actually homemade them. And that's kind of the charm of these cookies, or any cookie. I had made some cookies last week for a friend, and she shared them on Facebook, and someone said, "I love rustic cookies." And I said, "What's a rustic cookie?" "You mean a homemade cookie? That's a rustic cookie, something that a machine didn't make?" Yeah, I love that you love that. I like to make sure that my cookies, no matter what look like, I made them. Because I made them with love. There we go. Hugo's over here just stacking these cookies up. So, there they are. So, icing these cookies. Have you eaten a cookie yet with icing on it? Still working on them, I guess, huh? Can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry, there may be a connection issue today about not hearing me. You can't hear me at all, or you just can't hear me well. Barely hear you. So we will work on that. I will try to talk louder, but it doesn't seem to. I just got a from my sound lady. She said, "Don't do that. I'm gonna blow a circuit." All right, chocolate. Girl Scouts. I mean, how many of you Girl Scouts know how to make your own cookies? I know you all are great sales ladies. Okay, still warm. Okay, I get it. All right. I know y'all are great sales ladies because I pride myself with being able to say no, and I can never say no to a Girl Scout. I am the guy who finds the other entrance to the store that y'all aren't at and goes in there, and I try to remember that you guys aren't there because I cannot say no to you guys. It's really hard, especially y'all need to come up with keto cookies. You know, if you do that, you will not have to sell cookies anymore. They will find you. They will be. All right, Girl Scouts Online. And I can't wait. I know you guys, some of you guys need your badges for Girl Scouts, and we do those here at Main Course from time to time. I work with different troops and different troop leaders, and we get you guys in here some cooking. But I don't know if that's going to happen anytime this spring. So we want to make sure if you need your badges, if you need us to sign off on anything, have your moms or your not den moms, leaders contact us, and if we need to give you any information on what you guys have done and you got your badges online today, then we're happy to help you out. Summer school coming up. We are talking about, we're hoping that summer will be normal here. So we are going to be posting next week our summer kids class schedule on our Facebook page. We'll notify you on Facebook, but we're going to put it on our website, what days of the week. We're hoping to do some boot camps and some full week camps of cooking classes. And that's hands-on. It's about 2 hours, and we take a big group. I think we'll be taking about 12 at a time this year. We're going to do some social distancing within the class. We're figuring things out like everyone else is. All right, so here is your first batch. Remember, we still have I have that other batch of cookies to make, but these are our Thin Mint cookies. That one that broke, I'm just going to give it some more icing, a little bit more love there. Any kind of lumpy icing on the top, I'm just smoothing off. All right, smooth it off, smooth it off. Thin Mints are my favorite cookies. So a couple of years ago, I have a story real quick, and I know some people don't like my stories, but since it's my show today, I'm going to tell one, okay? A couple of years ago, the Girl Scouts came to me and said, hey, we'd like you to join in. And there was a thing down at the Column Door, which is a restaurant hotel in Houston, and it was to take a Girl Scout cookie and to turn it into any other kind of dessert that you want to do. And then I was lucky enough to get Thin Mints. Other people got the other ones, Samoas and things like that, but I got Thin Mints, and I turned mine into a triple mint chocolate brownie with genoa and a little bit of what's it when you flavor meringue? Poutine, something like that. Some kind of fancy French name for a thick layer of marshmallow. And what I did was like a marshmallow layer, and then I chopped up the Thin Mints and put that in there, and I put another layer of brownie, so it's like this thick of Girl Scout cookie flavor, and we put it on, and we won best use of a Girl Scout cookie that year. So it was really nice to win. I still have that award, so maybe I'll find it and put it up behind me next week. So that's why I call them Fogarty's, Chef Fogarty's. All right, so we've got these, and now you can let them cool in your kitchen, or you can put them in the refrigerator. If you're in a hurry, you can put them in the freezer. I'm just gonna give them a little fan. It's kind of warm in here today, but I'm gonna go ahead and eat one. If you guys have any questions so far, looks like y'all are still working, waiting for the stuff to cool. Sure, the Venmo or PayPal info. Venmo, I think I have to remember this, is main_course_cooks. That's for Venmo. People are asking for this information. The Zelle and the PayPal are Lawrence at Main Course Cooking, and Cash App is $main_course_cooks or cooking. Those are the 3 or 4 ways to make gratuities if you'd like. We'll post it on our Facebook page right after. So, remember that this week we're not doing our Nailed It class. We have a catering to do this week, so we're going to not do Nailed It this Saturday. We'll be back the following Saturday. We have just posted a class, a paid class that we're doing. We do a date night class for Friday night. That's for your moms and dads, and that is on our Facebook page today. It's called Date Night Live, and it starts on Friday at 6 o'clock, and we have still time to get you in and register you. We also just posted our cooking class on Sunday at 2. That's called Better Check Yourself. It's about Czech cooking, and the Czech cooking I'm talking about is kolaches and klobanes. So if you like sausage kolaches, we're definitely going to teach you how to make that sweet bread and roll it down and put it in, make everything from scratch. That's on Sunday at 2. And then following to the class today, tomorrow morning we'll have a posting for next Thursday and Tuesday and Thursday classes in here. On Facebook Live, we're doing the free kids classes again next week. And we love to have you join us. How many joined us today? We were almost 300 people around the country joining and enjoying cookies today. That's amazing. You can see that these are not quite dry. My fingers are still sticky, but I'm still going to eat this because I need to check it for quality. So good. They don't crunch as much as a real Thin Mint, but I think they do that because the cookie has to be super dry to be able to be packaged and then wait for 3 months or 4 months till it gets sold. These, you can crisp up your cookie a little bit more in the oven. I can't even talk, they're so gooey and delicious. But these are worth the wait to make them, let them cool off and do that. And I appreciate you guys for coming out. They're stuck to the top of my mouth. Lori who? All right, Lori. I know Lori. She's up north, I think Minnesota today, probably. Oh, and she wanted to do the kolache class, so make sure she knows. Okay, so we'll see you here next Tuesday. If not, if we want to join us for our date night live or the check yourself class, we're here over the weekend. Okay, and we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.